Welcome to It Factor, the vlogcast that uncovers the it that makes companies stand out in the IT BPM industry. In this episode, we are diving into ProHance with their CEO, Ankur Dhingra. So what is ProHance's it? Let's find out.
Ankur, welcome to It Factor.
Thank you, Jack. We've been planning this for a while. I'm glad we got time to get together.
Yeah, it's
So
good
looking forward to it.
always good when you visit Manila.
Yeah.
So let's start, Ankur. You know, ProHance has become a globally recognized leader in workplace analytics and productivity solutions. So for our audience, can you walk us through the origin of ProHance and how you've built it into this global platform, serving organizations across all these geographies?
No, thank you, Jack. I'm glad we are getting recognized, at least in our target segments in market. It's a very interesting journey with ProHance. It's a combination of what I call serendipity and me being awake on the wheel as I was going through my career. So just to rewind back, I'm very much a product of the BPO IT industry. I started working back in late 1990s and joined GE at that time. And then, as you know, GE became Genpact. So like all of us in the industry, spent a lot of time doing transitions, operations, helping set up global operations. And then in 2009, I ended up joining American Express. And I used to lead the customer service operations for American Express. And that's when I kind of also had my first visit to the Philippines, and I got to see the talent and the potential of the Philippines because we used to outsource work into the Philippines, and I used to manage some of those service providers. So I did that job from 2009 to 15, and then in 2015 I got a very interesting job to lead the global back office operations. I mean, I use the term back office loosely. It was more around everything you do with transaction processing, case management, underwriting. And when I kind of got into that job in 2015, one thing that really hit me was that there was no great measurements or there was no visibility of what's really happening on the ground. So I was coming from the contact center side where everything was measured, well instrumented, and I came into this world where, if I needed a simple report around utilization, productivity, what was done at the end of the day, it would take a few days and you had to get reports out from many systems. And what also struck me was that we were in the best-in-class technology stack on the contact center side, where we were investing millions of dollars to optimize 30 seconds on the handle time of a call. And here you had 8 hours of unoptimized time where really no one had paid attention on what kind of technology we need. And now that I reflect back and I say that, I became very irrationally obsessed with that problem, that why has not someone solved the productivity challenge for the back office in an automated and a holistic way. And in my pursuit of trying to see what's available in the world, I ran an RFP with American Express, looked at everything, like all the existing providers, NICE, Verint, and the likes, and really found that a lot of that technology was clunky, it was hard to deploy, it was very expensive. And more importantly, it wasn't really built to purpose for the back office. Because in back office, your inputs are from multiple sources, a contact center input is homogeneous. So I ended up then, saying that, look, I'm not finding something off the shelf. Let me try and dig into the startup ecosystem in India if there is some company that's trying to solve this problem. So 2 of my very close friends now, Kishore and Rajesh, had founded a company called ProHance, and they were in Bangalore. And they had built the engine that was really solving the back office problem. And I did a demo with them. I saw it for 15 minutes, and I knew they had cracked the code because I'd been working for so long. I could just, it's almost like, when you see something and yep, that's the answer. So then, we got them into where I was working at Amex. We deployed it there. and I used the technology extensively, got some phenomenal results. And then I just felt it was too compelling an opportunity for me to let go of, because I could just see this big market that we could address with this technology. And I ended up leaving, my job at Amex
Wow.
in 2018. After
You left Amex for ProHance.
yeah. At 2018, ended up then joining ProHance team, the founding team with Kishore and Rajesh. And then from there, we started scaling up the business. So we were a very small business, like a $500,000 business that time.
Ankur, what was that eureka moment? When that 15 minutes when you said, "Wow, they've cracked the code."
So essentially, Jack, not getting too technical, but what the back office world has struggled with is automatic measurements. They've always been associate declared or representative declared measurements, or they've been a need to start and stop your logged hours and things like that. In ProHance, there's a very elegant way in which, when you log into your machine, it kicks in and it is able to tell exactly what's happening. That automation was critical. That was one thing. The other thing that was critical was that your ability to define your work zone, and I'm sure we'll get into productivity and what we do, but essentially productivity in my mind is a little misunderstood. And like love and happiness has a lot of definitions depending on who you talk to. ProHance allowed you to do is to set your definition of productivity, what you felt was productive in context of your organization and your area of work. So while that gave that flexibility, the automation ensured the measurement remained accurate. And then you could roll it up across different parts of the organization. So if one part felt their work was productive, let's say if you're doing an HR back office, you were productive because you spent time in LinkedIn, and finance and accounting felt you're productive because you spend time in like these financial applications. Now, how do you reconcile it and build an enterprise view on what is my productivity? So it allowed you to do that. And while that sounds very basic on the face of it, it is really a hard problem to solve at scale. If you have 20, 30, 40,000 people, how do you automatically make those measurements and then get them to a common denominator?
So Ankur, are you saying that the platform, even for one customer, is very customizable across all these different functions and processes?
The platform, it's a platform, so it is, you can fully tune it, customize it, but the core philosophy remains the same. The core philosophy remains that our view on productivity is that productivity is a combination of effort you put in and outcome you deliver. Now that's in my view the two sides of the balance sheet of the productivity equation. So if you remember in our times, we would hear comments like, "Oh, just get the job done. I don't care how you get it done." And if someone got the job done, you said, "This guy is really productive," or "This girl is really productive." But I think that's in our kind of operations, which are large, complex operations, that's an unsophisticated view. What we really need to do is what is the effort that is being spent to deliver a certain outcome. And the effort measurement has always been a challenge in the industry. So we've solved the effort measurement side and we've correlated it to outcome. And that allows you to get a holistic view of what is productivity end to end. And that's a simple but a powerful idea, because what you realize is sometimes the low effort is leading to high outcome. So you can study that and understand, is it the people, is it the process, can I replicate it, can I scale it? And that was what was unique. And it is fully customizable depending on your nature of work.
Fascinating. Now, when you look back, Ankur, what have been the most significant milestones on your journey? Allowing you to expand the footprint in countries like the Philippines and India.
So Jack, as I kind of did this journey, I also became a keen student of software as a service and essentially overall technology. So they're pretty standard frameworks and milestones, which is called the 1, 10, 100 million kind of milestone, which is done by this guy called Jason Lemkin, who was interested. He runs a forum called SaaStr. So clearly for us also the key milestone was to get to 1 million in revenue, which kind of tells you have product market fit and you're willing and paying customers. And then the other next key milestone was to get to 10 million, because that ensured that you build some kind of scalability, repeatability, You have essentially people who are willing to continue to renew and take your software, and then it's to scale further. As far as Philippines is concerned, it's a very interesting story. I was always a believer in the Philippines market. Like they say, China is the factory of the world. I believe Philippines and India are the office of the world. And if you look at it in that context, while we started in India, I was very keen to expand into the Philippines. We had some customers who we acquired in India but had operations in Philippines. So we had some people using it, but we didn't have directly a big customer in the Philippines. So when COVID happened, there was a big need for getting visibility in your operations, and the model shifted to remote, which has now settled in some kind of a hybrid. And in that time, I started actually calling into the Philippines, sitting in India at my home, and luckily we got a large healthcare client who liked what what we were offering, and they ended up taking ProHance. And that was our first big anchor client. So that was one very big moment where we got a customer at scale. It kind of proved the concept. And then once COVID got over, I was very keen to establish presence in the market. The one thing I also saw, which I thought didn't sit with me, was a lot of people were trying to sell technology into Philippines from Singapore, from Malaysia, and I would wonder why would they do that? The market is here. So I started looking, and then we got Sachin as a country manager on board, and then we built a team here. So that was also a very pivotal moment when we set up an office, set up an entity, set up an operation here. And yeah, so...
So what year was that when
that
you set up in
around,
PH?
2022, late 22, 23.
Switching topic, how have recent advancements in artificial intelligence, analytics, automation,
Yep.
how have they, influenced ProHance's platform, and what are some of the initial impacts that you've seen, amongst your clients
Sure.
and the behavior of their workforce?
So I think at a headline level, AI is real. I think we are in some kind of a super cycle. If you trace back the history, maybe we had the internet, then we had the mobile, then we had the cloud. AI is a cycle like that. Some people claim that after electricity, it is the biggest invention which mankind has made. Having said that, my take on this is that these are multi-decade cycles. While there is a lot of fear of missing out with companies that they need to catch the bandwagon now, and you really hear these phrases like AI or die, and things like that. I think these cycles kind of take time, and they really play out over the years. So in a baseball sense, you're probably in the first inning still. And there's a lot more that will happen, and business models will evolve. So that's my general view on how I think about AI. The other thing I think about is that you have to be early, but you don't have to be first. I think a lot of iteration will happen, a lot of mistakes, and a lot of evolution of the business model will happen. How in ProHance we think about AI is really twofold, internal and external. So internally, and you also hear a lot of this commentary that SaaS is dead, AI will take over. But I think my point of view is that internally, as you think about a company like us, we provide a software. I think how is software experienced by our end users leveraging AI will be a very dominant use case. So a lot of things will move away from charts and clicks to more maybe conversation or some kind of a query-based function. So that's one thing we are moving towards. The other thing we are seeing with AI is this whole thing around adoption. So one thing we built is like an AI adoption index. So as companies make significant investments in AI, the challenge in my view is while the boardroom has a lot of conviction and they're convinced about the power of AI, how does that get translated on the ground?
Right.
So people need to find a way, and I don't think AI is really about a killer app or just using some technology. AI is going to be more of a cultural change, like how does everyone in the organization use it, how do you infuse it in your process. So to win the AI war, you'll have to fight battles at many fronts, remove bottlenecks, so AI can really play a big part in the organization. I think there we can play a pivotal role. So we have really, because we are able to measure work patterns and how time is spent on a machine, we can provide a very real grounds up view of what is really happening. So I think that will be a big use case, which we are very focused on to helping companies progress on the AI journey.
Yeah, so on that point, ProHance is already known, for optimizing not just digital capital, but specifically human capital. So how is the platform helping companies, your customers, improve employee performance, creating more, agile, flexible, future-ready teams?
Yeah. So I think, Jack, just to step back, in our kind of business, I'm talking in the businesses we work in the BPO, IT side, shared services, GCCs. Essentially, if you look at the whole mix of the total investment that goes in, people is probably 60-70% of that investment, and you have real estate and technology, which is 20-30%. And, for the last 30 years, we've been looking at ways on how we can provide better service or better outcomes. And there's always been a pressure on how do we optimize the cost of delivery, cost of operations. The key thing there is that how humans interact with the technology and getting a deep understanding of that can really help you unlock value. So while there are many ways to climb this productivity hill, like you can have a RPA, you have seen that wave a decade ago, you can have process discovery, you can have re-engineering, or now Gen AI. The reality is, how is that impacting the operation on the ground? Like, how are we ensuring that whatever we are using as digital investments, are they translating to actual changes in behavior, changes in results? So that is where we see a very important role. So I tell people, you might have a very fancy gym, but if you really don't have a good weighing scale, you really don't know if you're making, or a good BMI monitor, you really don't know you're making progress. And so that's one thing, which we believe we can change, over time as far as this whole narrative is concerned. Our idea is not to compete with a lot of these technologies, but help people unlock the full value. Now, as far as the operating model is concerned on the human side of the house, I strongly believe, and we as a company strongly believe, that hybrid is here to stay. I mean, it's basically a fundamental shift in how humans work, and the current in-office structure is like a legacy from the industrialization era, which never really got questioned. And COVID was that catalyst, because everything was ready. Bandwidth was ready, virtualization was ready, assets could be more mobile. So I think that's a secular trend. While companies claim that they want to get people back to office, I just wish them good luck with that. I think talent, which is good, will find options to work in a convenient setting. So how do we enable hybrid working? So rather than fighting that trend and creating dissonance, can we have visibility across operations? And I think it's got a great implication for Philippines also, as you want to spread the industry out of the metros into the provinces and tap into talent anywhere. I think we can play a very pivotal role in that. So we really enable hybrid working at scale with good visibility. And the other softer thing I feel is that even for team leaders now, we haven't really coached them on how to manage a hybrid team. Like, there's been a lot of good work done, and if everyone comes into office, how to run a one-on-one, how to do coaching feedback. Now, how does that happen in hybrid? So they need some visibility, they need some eyes into the operation to do that, and that is what I think we can offer with ProHance.
What are some of the specific stories that your customers are saying, and how
Yeah.
we're still navigating and adjusting to this, what hybrid is. Even the definition of hybrid is changing.
That's right.
But what are your customers saying? How are their employees reacting to the platform?
To answer your question, hybrid, I think everybody has a point of view. A lot of time that point of view drives from the leadership. So sometimes the leadership is from a generation where there's this concept of hard work. you only work hard if I see you and you come into office. Well, they are pushing for hybrid, but like I said, it's a losing battle. A lot of customers I see have claimed that, look, we moved to 4 days a week. But if you really unpeel the onion, it's not really 4 days a week. People come 1 or 2 days a week, and there's a lot of, like, it's not at the same intensity as all of us would do that before COVID. So I think customers are slowly recognizing that they need to have a better system in place. And some of the stories which I can tell about hybrid is that a lot of our customers have been able to optimize their real estate strategy because we can provide very sharp analytics on what is your efficiency working from home, working from office. And that is the age-old debate, and a lot of it is based on perceptions. Look, work from office is better. But with data, like, the truth liberates you, right? So if you feel in your context working from a remote location is probably more effective, you don't spend 4 hours commuting and you're fresh and you can do your job, then you can make a more a bold move or a more aware move that, okay, maybe we won't have these big centers in Manila or wherever in India, and we'll have more satellite centers and spread it out. So we probably are not the only input, but a big input. A lot of big companies have actually optimized their real estate strategy, leveraging what ProHance can offer. I think on the softer side, what we've done is we've also able to predict engagement levels or disengagement levels and propensity to attrite. So we build machine learning models basis the work pattern you have. So if you have somebody who's working remote, depending on what is their work pattern, how often they take a break, when do they log in, when do they log out, are they just, what is their focus time, you're able to predict the disengagement level. And we almost provide a weekly readout saying if you're 20,000 people, these 2,000 people look a little disengaged with their work pattern. And then we are able to predict attrition, like what is their propensity to attrite. And that is having a big impact, as you think about hybrid working, because obviously this has been a perennial challenge, for the industry. And we believe that rather than doing a spray and pray kind of approach, if you have this level of analytics, your input and decisions
Does
can be
that
sharper.
come with the platform itself, or is that an add-on?
It's an add-on feature because essentially, you need to ping a LLM. Some companies are not comfortable sending the data out, so it's more like on the, it's an add-on. But I think that's where the puck will move. The puck will move towards people being more distributed. The puck will move towards much sharper measurements to take incisive action. Also, your team leader effectiveness, if you think about in this hybrid setting, team leader might be in one location and they're 15-member team across 3 locations.
So this is what employers are saying. What about employees? How are they behaving and responding to
when I started this journey, I had a big headwind where a technology would be misconstrued as a monitoring technology. And people would say that, it's surveillance or someone's like spying on us and things like that. But I think that's, there needed to be a certain amount of education. So the first thing which I used to tell people is if you worked in the contact center, you anyways log into a system, you log in to take a break. So it is a simple measurement for us to run operations, to load balance, to see which parts are overworked, which are underutilized. And we gave the full control of the technology to the end user. So end user could switch it off. He could suspend it. Same way you have a Fitbit, right? So you think about it like a Fitbit. The idea is for you to become aware of your work style, not needing a manager to tell you all the time. So if you are expected to walk 6,000 steps in a day, So the idea is to drive awareness and accountability
and
at the
improvement.
front, and improvement at the front line. That's one part. The second part is, how you structure. See, a lot of times when we talk about things like these, the mind always goes to the negative, right? You think about performance management and all the. But the thing is, a lot of companies have used this to really design their pay-for-performance programs. So, for example, if you put in the right amount of time as you should be putting in your work zone, you could actually be eligible for some kind of a
Right.
weekly, payout. So it is, the idea is to have data so you know what exactly is happening, and then you can design many things around it. And and if I'll make one comment, last comment, in our business and our nature of work, which is people intensive, true data can only come at the node where the action is happening. So that's been my deep learning in 17 years. If you indirectly try and get that measurement, you lose some of the accuracy in the measurement.
So the end result, hopefully, becoming building a performance-based culture.
Performance-based, merit-based culture, and also ensuring you unlock the full value of all the investments you make. So the organization of the future is going to be a combination of humans, AIs, bots, hybrid, distributed. So look at the layers of complexity. Now, how is the interplay happening across all these layers, and how are you building your organization strategy? It is a pretty complex thing, and you need pure, empirical data to do that, and that's what we can provide.
Now, let me ask you another question,
Yeah.
Ankur. Have you heard from your customers of employees trying to game the system?
Yeah. See, like in every technology, we'll always have people trying to circumvent what the technology is supposed to do, and we keep building algorithms. But like I said, the idea is not to, monitor. The idea is to empower with this system. So if someone is trying to game the system, what typically happens is, if I go back to my definition of productivity, the time looks great. You're on time, you're logged in, but the output doesn't look great. So if you look at, so you might be spending time, but not you're delivering the desired output. And then if you look at a process, a 15-member team, you will be able to easily spot the outliers. But things like a long key press, aberrant activity, we keep building that back into our system as we get to see new things. But again, like I say, the mindset is that, like I say, for-profit organization exist for profit, right? And we should never lose. And if you're a healthy, profitable organization, it's better because you're able to take care of employees, you're able to do things more strategically and systematically. So I rather know all my body statistics, what my blood pressure, what's my blood sugar, how am I doing, rather than suddenly I having a episode and then I have to go. So that's the whole idea, to really know what's happening inside the organization.
So let's take a step back, Ankur. What are your strategic priorities in the next 1 to 3 years for the Philippines and for India, and how will these help strengthen your position in IT BPM and knowledge services?
Well, Jack, I'm glad you're not asking more than 3 years. Everything is so uncertain, you never know. But essentially what we are trying to do is we are trying to really provide a solution that provides real impact. You have a lot of complex things that get sold, and the enterprise productivity space can get very cluttered and confusing with everything that is out there and the number of overlaps. So our idea is to be a first principles based company that helps you drive your efficiency agenda based on empirical measurement. So my 1, 2, 3-year goal is to continue to spread that message. That it doesn't need to be this complicated. You can do it in a much simpler way. So that is an ongoing process. Also, the 1 to 3-year goal is to see how do we thoughtfully embrace AI and see how we can help people make the transition in the super cycle, and what is our role in that. I do believe that everybody can't be a large language model company, but there'll be many opportunities that will come up as this super cycle unfolds, and what is our role in that. So some of the things I spoke about earlier, to strengthen those offerings as we move forward. And finally, I think what we want to do specifically for the Philippines is, we've already made an investment. We have a 4-member team here. We'll continue to grow that team. Philippines is a hub for Southeast Asia, so we are actually going to run our entire Southeast Asia operations from the Philippines, and also want to work closely with the industry leaders in Philippines to make sure that they have our technology for them to deliver their outcomes, because things are getting, like I said, more competitive, things are getting cluttered. Now you have technologies that can do all kinds of things, like neutralize accent, etc. So when you get into that world, I think being on point with productivity is not something anyone can take their eye off. I'm also very keen for the Philippines to embrace a hybrid working solution. I believe that can unlock a next wave of talent into the industry. So we'll spend some time educating the industry leaders and with forums like IBPAP to see how we can further help the industry overall. And on the product roadmap, I think the key thing, again, like I said, we're focused on is AI, but also how do we use AI more effectively for a product. We are still a young company, we are not very big, so obviously we have growth and profitability targets, and we are backed by a private equity firm. So those continue to be like a standard business target. So I think those are the things you're focused on in 1 to 3 years.
Good news to hear that you've made the Philippines the hub for Southeast Asia.
Yes.
Great news. So let's talk about Filipino talent. What can you say about the Filipino talent that you have not seen elsewhere?
So I think two parts to it. I think the cultural and the contextual understanding of the markets they serve, and their natural orientation towards being able to really do that in a very easy way. Like, sometimes something seemed a little, you have to put in a more effort, but if I look at the talent here, they're very seamlessly able to do things which I don't think anywhere in the world that can be done. And how big are you now in the industry? Like 2 million?
1.9 digital workers.
So I remember when I met you 4 years ago, you were 1.4 or something like that, and that keeps, that's been growing. The other thing I think is that we underestimated the ability to do work outside of voice. So I see now we have clients in healthcare. We work with 3-4 of the leading GCCs in the Philippines, and a lot of that work is really more operations oriented, not just customer service oriented, and that's been a great change. Also, I believe where the talent will play a role is the boundaries between back office and customer service work will blend, and you'll actually get into blended processing.
Right.
And where both skills will be needed. It'll just not be either or. So I think that is where talent is well positioned. I think a lot of, when I talk to my teams, etc., all these technology waves that are happening, I hear a lot of buzz about what's going to happen with AI. Like I said, they're long-term trends. I think you just use it every day to get incrementally better, and you'll be on the right side of the trend. There's no point just thinking about what's going to happen 5-10 years out, because frankly, there's so much happening, it's very hard to think there. But I do say point in the right direction, like point with the trend, don't try and fight the trend. So that's the key thing. So if there is technology that can help you deliver a better outcome, use it. And even for talent, if there's technology that can help you get better, use it.
I like what you said about the evolution into more blended processes. Now, on that point, Ankur, any broad comments on where ProHance has been really successful in this market?
Yeah.
You mentioned healthcare.
Yeah.
You mentioned obviously contact center to GCCs.
That's right.
Where are you seeing
So I think
the Philippine success?
Yeah. So the biggest Philippine success is really that if I think about the unlocking of how you kind of get to a desired state of operations over time. The first is to get a full handle on your effort. So where is time being spent in the organization? That is step one. Getting a handle on your effort tells you what is the gaps, where is time overspent, underspent. Is your payroll aligned to the effort? Is your overtime aligned to the effort? The second building block is relate effort to outcome. So if you're putting in the effort, are you delivering the desired outcome? You can think about low effort, low outcome, like a 4 blocker. And essentially what you want to be in is required effort and desired outcome, which I call, you don't want people to be overworked also,
Right.
but working in a good work zone. And that tells you effort, we call it input-output correlation or effort to outcome correlation. Those simple things get you aligned well. And the third thing which, and I'm talking about a client which is using it, is we have solved this problem of work distribution and management. The reality is that still a lot of work that happens off Excel spreadsheets. It gets downloaded, then it gets sent to people on mailboxes, then it gets collected. So we build what we call is a automatic transaction distributor, like automatic call distributor. So you're able to essentially get work items from all the queues, like some work comes in the mailbox, some comes in the CRM, some comes from the system in a flat file. You're able to ingest all of it into a transaction distributor, and then you're able to set priority rules, like you do call routing. So if certain states need to get done earlier, it'll happen earlier. If there's certain dollar amount transactions that need to be done earlier, can be done earlier. And then you can assign skill groups to that.
And that's happening all in real time?
That is all happening all in real time. It's happening today for clients.
Wow.
So and they have a full inventory view. So how much did it start with? Where is it? Which is completed? What is pending? And I believe that unified view of how work gets done is for me is one of the best examples I have in the Philippines of how this operation is being done. And that is what we want to unlock. And then the final layer on top of that is this: all the digital investments, AI investments, are they really creating impact? So if you have the conviction and they're not creating impact, then you need to figure out why they're not creating impact. So are the teams that are using these technologies, they tend to be more productive? How do we incentivize teams to start using it? So it is going to be almost like, when you have a war and you're trying to acquire land, you go step by step by step. Otherwise, I don't think you'll be able to build sustainable AI into your... So that is the fourth pillar. So we are working now with clients in Philippines. We've been working for 3-4 years to take them on this journey, to get them fully ready, and have their processes well instrumented.
And these recommendations are going to be part of your solution?
Yes, there is a recommendation engine. We have nudges. We have goal setting, all that. So our background is descriptive. So when the whole thing is, we collect all the data. So we are very useful for any language model you want to use. And we used to focus a lot on descriptive statistics. Now clearly the puck is moving to, okay, basis that descriptive statistics, can he provide a recommend? And also recommendation by persona. So what's the recommendation for the manager? What's the recommendation for the associate? What's the recommendation for the leader?
So these features are
They're part of
the
ProHance
offering?
today.
Wow.
They're part of offering.
Interesting. So Ankur, I have to ask you a longer term question. Right?
Yes.
So if I were to give you a crystal ball, like how do you see IT, BPM, BPO evolving over the next 5 to 10 years, and what role do you hope ProHance will play?
So I think if you broadly, roughly look at the headcount, we probably have 5 million people in India doing this. We have 2 million in the Philippines, maybe another 2-3 million. So I mean, it might be a 10 million kind of a headcount industry. And if you just track the growth of the industry, probably started in 1985. I mean, I know but Texas Instruments set up their first center in India back then, but really picked off. So if you really track the trajectory, the industry's only gone up. Despite, we had all that digital wave. I spoke about the super cycles, despite the, the mobile and the cloud and all those waves. I think that trend will continue, maybe slow down, fasten, I don't know. I don't think human in the loop is getting out. That is our thesis. I mean, we've heard for 40 years about straight-through processing, etc. Some of it happened, but the reality is that as the world, as a lot of this technology comes, the size of the pie keeps increasing, because then the quality of service to remain even at the baseline level increases. So you need hyper-personalization. Like, in India you have this doorstep delivery. that leads to a set of processes that need to be set up for quick commerce. So as the world evolves, convenience evolves, I think the ancillary functions also evolve. So there's always a competition between, okay, what will the technology take away versus what will get added. But I think the net of it is that my prediction is that I don't expect that the industry is going away anytime soon. I think it will grow. Growth rate maybe in the short term get impaired and then they settle down. I think our goal is, like we said, we are essentially a workforce productivity solution for the human capital and unlocking digital investments. I think we'll continue to be very relevant. And like my goal or my kind of the reason why I do this is I want to offer enterprises like a fresh perspective on productivity. I want to break away from this narrative that you need to do really big things to get big gains, and we should never lose sight of the basics. And that's, kind of our role in this whole industry.
So, not man versus machine. It's man with machine.
Yeah.
Right?
And some people say that the man with machine versus the man without machine, or the man with AI versus the man without AI. Yeah, all these kind of catchphrases exist, but it's just like I said, it's just a trend that will take many decades to unlock. It won't unlock today.
But clearly, we are already seeing AI enhancing productivity. Would you agree with that?
So yeah, like I said, the definition of productivity is a little bit like love and happiness. In our industry, yes, I would see clear examples of that, but I would also see, from my enterprise perspective, the dollars you're putting in versus the outcome you're delivering, maybe that metric is not getting enhanced in the short term. And a lot of people say we are learning, that's the investment. You think about the RPA wave. If I ask you, not as big a super cycle as the AI, but if I ask you back that question, did RPA enhance productivity or did it not? Like the amount of money that got spent in RPA versus the ROI. So it's depending on who you ask.
Right.
But I don't think we'll be able to fight this cycle. The point is that there's way too much money and way too much investment. I think you have to kind of be on the right side of change.
So, Ankur, as we wrap up this really insightful conversation, as always, would you have a message to convey to, the ITBPM community here in the Philippines and in India, on our journey towards building this sustainable, future-ready industry?
No, I think, Jack, my message really is that change is always sometimes a little scary. And I think what is important is that our industry has shown that we've adapted and changed. The growth rates are testimony to that. This has become the biggest contributor to the Philippines GDP now. So, what bigger testimony you need? And everybody tells me contact center is dead. I tell them, if a proxy is the Philippines growth in ITBPM, you look at that over the last 20 years and So I think a lot of things will happen. Just be agile, just be open, just keep your eyes open as you're on the wheel. And I also think about this idea of pellet testing, like throw some pellets to see if there's a target there. If you find a target, then throw the cannonball. Don't be in a hurry to just say, okay, I'm AI and I'm going to just throw that cannonball, because AI will mean many different things to many different people. Understanding what is, in your context, what is the right use and the right ability to leverage AI will be supremely critical. So having that judgment, and I say you can't get judgment just by thinking in a room. You need to iterate your way to good judgment. So do some small iterations, small experiments at scale, and then see what works and put energy behind that.
So Ankur, I've asked all the questions today. Do you have any questions for me?
No, Jack, you've been doing this role for now 4 years.
Closing on 4 years.
Closing on 4 years. As you reflect back on the 4 years you've spent, I'll be keen to understand, how do you view this big super cycle we are getting into with AI, and what's your advice to the industry?
Well, that's a very loaded question, but it really, our industry boils down to human capital. Right, and I think we just need to really, something you said earlier, go back to the basics, the fundamentals of enhancing our communication skills, our comprehension, our ability to collaborate, and critical thinking, I think, has never been more important than now across all these domains, because that success that we all want, whatever, however you define it, will be at that intersection, right, of domain skills. What do you want to be good at? But you need to be more savvy in digital skills.
Right.
So that intersection will really determine how we succeed. And with India and the Philippines leading the way, I think we just need to do our best in retaining our market share.
No, I agree, and I think the point you make is that for me, like they say, to the point you say critical thinking, probably asking the right questions will become more critical than having the right answers, because answers you'll be able to get. Well, how do you, and you hear read all this literature that whoever prompts their AI the most and really quizzes them, questions them, challenges them, tends to get a better outcome. So yeah, I think, and also just generally our industry should be more curious, and the reality is the maximum number of users for this technology will be in the industry at scale. So while you can build out all the models and all those things, where will they get used, how will they get applied, will actually it come down to, I think, the companies that will be successful and humans who do it well versus who don't do it well.
Absolutely. I like that last piece that you added, curiosity, because that's really the starting point, right? Of knowledge is curiosity. And I guess to close, let's not forget about authenticity, especially with all this technology changing all of us. Never has been more important to be authentic.
And it's good to say, I don't know, I'm figuring it out, and I'm just like, to my head. So we had that event with you guys, and there's sort of people, they said, thank God, like, we're not discussing AI today. Like, I've had a lot of this discussion. So yeah, it's
Well, Ankur, thank you for the support and just helping the IT BPM industry of the Philippines through your very visible presence here in the market. You're a very important part of the ecosystem. So, thank you, and Sachin and your Philippines team for helping our ecosystem here.
No, thank you, Jack. We'll continue to do. We strongly believe in the market and its potential, and we'll be here for partners for long.
Well, it's good to hear, and again, thank you for this wonderful, insightful conversation and It Factor.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And that's it for today with It Factor. Thank you for tuning in with us. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow and subscribe to IBPAP on Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram. Catch the next episode on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Till next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep finding the it that sets you apart.
That's information technology and business process management. We are coders and programmers, agile animators, illustrators, auditors, analysts, from consultants to managers, nurturing nurses and doctors, data developers and testers, VA smiling CXRs and artificial intelligence engineers. Oh wait, there's more. We are problem solvers and number crunchers. We speak in several languages, including Java, Python, Python, and so on. And on and on and on. We create heroes and villains. We gain experience and level up in life.
We are the IT BPM industry, working with the Philippines. Join us.